Today I want to talk a little bit about this silver rising now with the full moon. So what do you say, buddy? I think it's, the full moon was something that was pointed out to me that today's the full moon. And I'm like, that could actually cause the price of silver to drop because these traders and people that move the markets are a bunch of astrological sign watchers. And I don't really watch this stuff too much because I don't believe in it. I know like there's been videos on YouTube about the moon and, it doesn't look right. And I'm like, actually the last time I even noticed there was a moon was probably months ago because I never really look up in the sky. I know that there's people that pay attention to the astrology big time. They're important. So maybe silver's going up due to the full moon and they're making it happen. But anyway, it's up over 24 as we speak, so, I don't know what the hell's going to happen exactly because silver's the devil's animal. But let me put it this way. So much physical buying. You think that's not going to play out in the markets or the spot price? It is. Really. A lot of people think, I know like they could do stuff electronically, but it's only temporary. You can't really hold the price down forever. It's almost like with price controls, and if you pull them down forever, you're basically going to have shortages, and that's what's showing up on the market. Showing up is shortages. You actually go to the bullion dealers and either it says unavailable or back order for a month or something. Pretty much there's nothing really available right now. But the other thing is there's more people buying ETFs, so that's causing more physical buying. Plus, the industry is buying more and more. Now, the Obama administration actually is going to be very good for silver. And it has been. His first term was great for silver. His second term is going to even be better for silver. Now, playing politics here, but actually his policies that he's doing is actually making silver go up, along with Ben Bernanke. And this is why Mark Farber holds his gold, because as long as these guys are in charge, I'm holding on to my gold. I ain't selling until these guys get out. I think the bull for the commodities is going to be topped out around 2017. That makes sense. All the stuff's going to happen during the Obama administration. Probably hit a peak right after he gets out. And a new guy will come in and say, yeah, it's all the old guy's fault. Same old bullshit, I didn't do it. It wasn't on my watch. Same old garbage. But, also during the Obama administration, it shows there's a fact. It's a fact, though, that 93%, the bottom 93% of Americans have gotten poor during the recovery. Yet the top 7% of Americans have gotten 28% more wealthy. So, a lot of times people voted for this guy because he wasn't for the wealthy. But they're both for the wealthy. He's Uncle Tom Obama, Kerry and Perry and everybody else, So, they're all for the wealthy, basically. So, the thing is with the silver, there's a lot of people who are, whenever the Moody's gets so bearish, it's almost like it's going to turn around. I was thinking it's going to go down a couple bucks. It could still, head south again unexpectedly. We're not going to know. And I'm going by Mark Farber. He's like, we'll know over the next couple weeks how it's going to play out. And it's going to, it's not going to stay down. That's the thing. We're probably going to see 30 before you know it. And, we're probably going to, when they do more QE in Europe later on, there's going to be more upward pressure. Because actually there was a study. It was a grad student. I can't remember the study now. But basically, he got the spreadsheet of, the Harvard PhDs or whatever, professors that were behind all this austerity stuff because they keep referring back to their study. I don't even remember the names. But these Harvard professors, the whole thing behind austerity is their numbers, and growth doesn't happen much unless you have to have austerity. You have to have austerity and all this type of stuff. And people practice money printing. The growth actually minimizes. But they left out countries like New Zealand, Australia, and Canada, and that type of stuff from the study. Debt-based growth. So that's like the opposite of austerity. Well, it turned out it looks like this graduate student who was doing his thesis or something got the spreadsheet that these two Harvard professors used that basically is the whole backbone behind it, austerity, and he found glaring errors in it. So now it's kind of like, all these big politicians and central bank authorities and stuff, they're always pointing back to this why we should have austerity because of these two egghead professors make these calculations, and they turn out to be wrong. Well, what that means for the price of silver is it kind of means that in the future it looks like austerity is out the door, a lot more money printed. So silver should be going up. That's what I'm thinking. It's basically, it kind of, I don't know if it was like this one guy that actually did it, because it's amazing how I almost can't believe a bunch of people could follow around these eggheads like they know everything. Obviously, when I look at austerity, it ain't working. Just look at Europe, right? And you got like people protesting out in the street. You got like 28% unemployment in some of the countries, and you got firebombing protests. Shit ain't working. So what the hell? But the problem with the money printing is they're not, when like I said, with the QE, what they're doing, they're buying up troubled assets. They're basically lending money to people. They're loving lending money to people to buy more and more properties, more mortgages. And then as soon as they get upside down, the bank has a troubled asset, and then the Federal Reserve buys it up. If they actually put that money into like projects, maybe like the works projects like FDR had. Like, I'm not a fan of that guy either. I think he's a communist. But if they actually did, if they put the money into like roads projects, infrastructure projects, electric trains or something, green, growing hemp or something like that, for those type of projects, and not just buying up troubled assets, we'd actually see a major upturn in the economy because it would be employing people. QE is actually just going to shore up banks, and what I mean by that is they're buying up troubled assets which got in trouble in the first place because they deliberately lent people too much money they knew they couldn't afford, so they knew they'd get them upside down, and they got the asset back for nothing. So whatever money the people put into it, they lost. You right? That's the definition of QE. Basically, it's just buying up things that people can't afford, that they deliberately lent them the money. So that's a lot of it's in the property and real estate areas. So they're going to continue that game for as long as they possibly can. So it's actually, if they put printed money and they said, let's do these projects, repair our bridges, fix our dams or something, let's make a whole bunch of windmills or something for power or something or whatever, it would actually do some good. But they're using that money to actually steal people's assets, basically, in a roundabout way. I'll just put it that way. But it looks like Obama's policies are, which is Bernanke, and it's Uncle Tom Obama, man. Really, he's not for the people like a lot of people thought when they voted for this guy. His policies are actually going to be extremely bullish for silver. Silver actually is probably going to hit its peak maybe during the Obama administration or right after. I'm probably thinking right after, because the effects of everything that's going to happen with all the money printing, and it looks like austerity's out the window now. Austerity's going to be out the window now that this study's been refuted, because they had glaring spreadsheet errors. It's amazing how you got all the world leaders and central banks following these two people around like they're God, and they have spreadsheet errors on their report. Nobody checks it, and some grad student got their spreadsheet and said, "Hey, you made some simple errors here, pal." Nobody was able to look at their work, but everybody freaking follows it around like it's perfect. It's amazing. But it's not amazing, because these people got to say some shit to get elected. So maybe austerity's out the window. If austerity's out the window, more money printing in Europe, more debt-based economy. They're going to push the debt further and further and further. That's something Lindsey Williams said, but I don't know if he knows what the hell's going to happen. I don't even think his elite friend knows what's going to happen, even if it exists. But I think that You're going to see silver really hit its peak more during the Obama administration, right, slightly after thereafter. And there's going to be a backlash against it, and something's going to happen, and that'll bring the price back down to earth again. But it's probably going to go way to hell over 100. Way to hell over 100. That's what I'm thinking. And so just have faith, because it's probably not going to be a long wait. Nobody's expecting the unexpected. When it starts taking off, this is basically a springboard, what's going on here. So could be a little too early for me to be saying this, but I don't know, maybe 22 was it. Maybe not. But usually this is when you're seeing physical buying like what's going on, and actually people like buying ETFs like what's going on. Hey, and yet the sentiment is actually like, oh, it's going to go drop even further. It's probably not. It's probably not. Silver pretty much does the opposite of what most people think it's going to do. That's one rule you can pretty much count on. So when it gets up there high and everybody's expecting it to go much higher, that's going to be dangerous. So I'll be selling in steps. That'll be my strategy, because I don't know for sure. I think it's better to sell in pieces as you make gains. That's the simplest way I could think of.